Welcome to the Vault Podcast, classic music reviews, presented by IV Creative. Now, here's your hosts, B. Cox and the crew.
Greetings and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of the Vault Podcast, classic music reviews, presented by IV Creative. It's a perspective of the classics from a fresh point of view. We appreciate you for taking your time and lending your ears to our perspective. You could be anywhere listening to anything, but you're right here with us, so we thank you. With you today is yours truly, B. Cox, and lo and behold, we got them back together again. Joining me today are none other than the crew, my boy, you know him well, the creator and host of Raw Sex Podcast, Dominique Marks, here in the place with us once again. Y'all can make sure y'all check out Raw Sex every Friday. Make sure y'all go and follow them, of course, on social media. He's a great follow on Instagram, also on Twitter, where he's dropping nothing but real and raw facts. And make sure y'all checking out the show and following. As we always say on his show, support is free. It's 100% free, so make sure y'all supporting that show and checking out Raw Sex Podcast and following Damo and all we got going on there. And as well, joining us here is my boy J.O. in the place to be. Guys, it's been a while since we've gotten back together. I appreciate both of y'all for joining me. And we want to give a shout out to the fans out there, stateside and worldwide, for continuing to show support to this show. Y'all make sure that y'all are going to vaultclassicpod.com. Once again, that's vaultclassicpod.com. Go to our website. There you can check out all of our reviews. You can leave a review yourself of the shows. You can also go there, check out all the catalog. Our store and merchandise store is up. Everything from hats, t-shirts, hoodies, tumblers, pens, iPhone cases, chargers, whatever you could think of, we got there in the merch shop. So make sure y'all are on vaultclassicpod.com to check it out and hit us up. Of course, you can get to all of our social media channels there as well. Once again, that's vaultclassicpod.com. As we always say here on the Vault, our motto is hashtag open the vault and hashtag nothing but the classics, or MBTC. And today, fellas, we're going to go back 25 years ago. And we're going to go to the debut studio album of none other than the late, great Big Pun, Capital Punishment, released on BMG, RCA, and Loud Records, as well as a part of Fat Joe's Terror Squad Productions. It was released April 28th, 1998, with a runtime of 71 minutes and 53 seconds. The producers on here, Big Pun and executive producer, as well as Fat Joe and Matt Life. A long list of producers that worked on this. JuJu from the Beatnuts, Rockwilder, Nobody, V.I.C. as well from the Beatnuts, Domingo, Young Lord, LES, RZA, Minnesota, Danny O and EQ, Showbiz, Mike Zulu, Frank Nitty, Nomad. All these folks worked on here as producers on this, so definitely a committee approach for the production on Big Pun's Capital Punishment. The singles for Capital Punishment. The first single, I'm Not a Player, released in August of 1997. Still Not a Player, featuring Joe, released in March in 1998, and You Came Up, released in August in 1998. Big Pun's Capital Punishment, the late great Christopher Rios, of course. So, guys, here we are. Big Pun's Capital Punishment, 25 years old. Definitely have some memories about this album. This was during a time when I felt as though, well, to me, I always felt like 98 held a special place in hip-hop because of where it stood in regards to the eras that it stood in between. Just going to talk a little bit about Big Pun and Capital Punishment, and we're going to go ahead and get right into it.
First thoughts and reflections.
So first thoughts and reflections, we'll go ahead and we'll start with you, Jay, with Big Pun's Capital Punishment. So what did you think at hearing Capital Punishment and things from it 25 years ago, and in the time that's passed since then? What is your reaction to the album since that time?
Man, I can't believe it's been that long. Yeah, so like when I first heard Pun, I think it might have been the single like during I'm Not a Player, and it sounded real refreshing, all like that. Because I mean, like you were saying before, like 98 was that time. Like it was a bunch of like new people like coming up on some more lyrical tip, but then you know we still kind of like reeling from the depths, like Pac and Big. You know what I'm saying? It was kind of like a where do we go from here type of moment. Mm-hmm. So it's like we was like just starting to come out of that, and then like really getting back to like real lyricists, particularly like East Coast. Punk came out, you know what I'm saying? It's supposed to be like a smooth joint, but he was sounding lyrical with shit on there. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, places out of Fat Joe's camp, you know what I'm saying? Off top, I thought he was nicer than Joe. Still think he's nicer than Joe, but that's another conversation. So, but anyway, like
I think we all know he nicer than Joe. I think Joe know he nicer than him.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, but see, I ain't trying to go down that rabbit hole on that one. Some other stuff I done heard, but stop right there.
All right, there we go.
You know, I heard he took. That's the reason he got nice after he passed, because he took his rhyme book or something like that. But I ain't gonna go there.
God damn it!
Oh wow, that's crazy.
Terrible.
Allegedly. There we go. All right.
But nah, like the album came out, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I was just like blown away. Like, you know what I'm saying? The first thing that came to mind was with the intro where they used that joint from Fresh, where Chuck was going like Spider-Man go down, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, that was clever as shit. But then going on and on, like, you know, he wasn't like a one-trick pony, so to speak. So like, you show he was making like, he was kind of well-rounded, had like lyrical joints, street joints, like joints for the women, like, you know what I'm saying, just like a complete package. So listen to it now, I mean, still holds up, you know what I'm saying? I don't even want to say what they're gripe about it. I just wish he didn't have as many like guest appearances on there, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like it would have, like, he would have had more of a chance, like, showcase his style, especially knowing now, you know what I'm saying, he's no longer with us. So
Yeah, true.
I mean, that was my only like gripe, so to speak, about it.
Indeed. Yeah, a lot of guest appearances on here. Just to talk about some of the guest appearances, Fat Joe, as we mentioned, features on a couple of ones on here. Cuban Linx, Terror Squad also featured on this one as well. You also had guest appearances by the likes of Inspectah Deck, Prodigy. Also, you had Black Thought on here as well, Miss Jones, Wyclef. We'll talk about Wyclef in a second, though. And then, of course, on some of the skits, you had the featuring of Funkmaster Flex as well, who is a BX representative himself. So we'll go over the demo. Your reactions on Capital Punishment. I know that we definitely talked about this at some point in time at the lunch table. So
it's funny because I was just listening to this album about a month ago when I was driving back from Florida. I think I tagged you.
Okay, yeah, you did. You did.
Yeah, I was like, oh yeah, this the mother. Sometimes you gotta put this on just to get that nostalgia again. I'm like, hold on, I haven't listened to this jump in a minute, and that's when you know it's a classic. When it's been so long, you will like go back to like, listen to this jump again, because you know some albums don't have no replay value. Like
None.
You heard it one time and you will never hear it again.
Yeah.
Like after that week went by, you're like, oh yeah, it's never know. It comes to your mind. I'm like, oh, let me put that jump on again. And this is 25 years later, and you go, oh yeah, let me put that jump. Oh yeah, I haven't listened to that jump in a minute. It might have been a couple of years, but hey, let me throw that jump on.
Yeah.
But yeah, it definitely was a lunchroom top. Emmanuel used to bump this jump in this motherfucking CD jump all day. I was like, oh, let me put this album. Let me see what the hell he talking about. Yeah. Besides the single, I was like, oh shit. Oh yeah, he got one. And then, you know, back then, you know, the Source, the Source always with the mics. They did give him 5 mics on the Source, didn't they?
Nah, it was 4 mics. He got 4 mics in the Source. Yeah. That's but definitely for somebody making it. Yeah, definitely for having a debut album, a 4 mic debut is definitely something that makes people perk up to be like, hold on now. Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like what you were saying, Jay. I think back then features was the thing back then. You know what I'm saying? Of course, you had the niggas wasn't singing, so they got the R&B singer, and Joe seemed like he was the one back then to go get for a good R&B hit. You put him on there, it's a hit.
Yeah, and that worked, man. That thing with Joe, I think was probably a surprise that I think many people thought that it wasn't going to work as well as it did, because that's a song, man, that 25 years later still is a jam, bro. Like it is, yeah, definitely.
Definitely in the club too.
Oh yeah, 100%.
That was the club Joe right there.
100%, and a great video to go along with it too.
Yes,
so,
it was.
Yeah.
And then you know the skits. You know them skits is hilarious as hell, especially when he got the 2 Spanish. I think that's what got me in the Spanish jokes. No, Joanno. No, Joanno. I want to think tonight, Joanno. I'm like, hold on. I like how that sound. Hold on.
That's wild, man. The skits were definitely wild. Yeah, goodness. Yeah, man. So for me, my first reaction is like the first song that I heard Big Pun on was Off the Books with Beatnuts. And it was like that verse he had on there. He stole the show leading it off. And that 16-bar verse absolutely killed it. Of course, I'm tapped in. I want to know more about him. The first couple of singles you get is the original I'm Not a Player, and then the Still Not a Player with Joe. That caught everybody's attention. Then I went ahead and took the leap, then I copped the album and brought it to school, and then definitely brought it to make sure to discuss at the lunch table. And I wasn't disappointed. Lyrically, it was all I expected and definitely more. Like, listening to it, I really was like, yo, this dude is almost like the second coming of G-Rap, like, stylistically. And I think you and I, Damo, talked about this when we talked about G-Rap's 4, 5, 6, when we reviewed it a couple of years ago, is that you can see the influences that G-Rap had on a lot of rappers back then. To me, I think stylistically, there was not a closer match to him than Pun. And you got a stylistic approach with G-Rap, and then also personality-wise, I felt like he was also the second coming of Biggie. Like, the skits, the humors, the way that he was with the ladies, it all kind of matched up. But what really got me into being a Pun fan, as you mentioned, Damo, was his performance on the deep album cuts. Like, you get in here, the singles are one thing, right? Yeah. But then you get into the deep album cuts, and you get into the depths he's able to go into some of these tracks, like You Not a Killer and Beware, and also even on songs like Punish Me and on Glamour Life, like you being able to see how deep he's able to go and the depth that he has in each one of those rhymes. It's like some of the stories that he told in some of this, like the traits that you have of the greats. And the production, really, to me, it was all done by committee. You heard all those producers that produced on this album. I thought while the production wasn't spectacular, I thought it did the job and it held up. Because when you have somebody that is a lyrical beast like Pun, it is really hard to be able to have production to be able to hold up unless you got the greats producing on your album and they are at the top of their game. So I felt like, okay, we got the perfect mix of everything here. You got a dude who lyrically nice as fuck. Stylistically, he's smooth and also got a little cachet with the ladies. He can make different type of styles of songs, and then you got production that sort of meet in the same level of where those songs need to go. This always stayed in my rotation, and I want to say there hasn't been a year since this album came out that I did not play this joint at least once during the year. And that's what you said, Damo. That tells you the true tale of something that has some staying power and replayability. So that's what got me into Capital Punishment, and ever since then, I've always kind of marveled every once in a while. Matter of fact, there is at least once a year since then, Jay and Damo, that I've sat there and I've marveled at a different verse from this album. You know what I'm saying? Whether it was Pun or one of the features on here. So that just goes to tell you the kind of staying power that this album had.
Highlights and lowlights.
So we'll go to highlights and lowlights, and I'll go ahead and start with you, Damo. So what about your highlights and lowlights from Capital Punishment?
There's a lot of highlights to me. Of course, you get the singles, Super Lyrical with Black Thought. That is a super highlight. A super highlight, the way they was going back and forth. Like, whenever at home, I might have listened to that joint like 3 times.
Yeah.
I was like, hold on, what'd he say? Let me go back here. Hold on, now, what did he say though just now? Hold on. What the? I said, oh yeah, these mugs getting it right here.
Absolutely.
Shoot, him and Fat Joe twins.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Him and Nori.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's Capital, of course, you know, Punish Me.
Mm-hmm.
Punish Me, of course, you know, I could feel him in that joint. I was like, oh yeah, these motherfucking baby mamas ain't shit.
Yeah. I already knew that you could be able to relate to that joint.
I said, God damn. But it's funny how he just threw that one in there out of all the shit that's going on. I said, oh shit, damn, this nigga got range in his jump.
Absolutely.
The low light to me is the Wyclef jump.
Really?
I can't do it.
You don't like it at all?
I can't do it at all.
Why not?
I don't even know I can't do it. I don't know if it was a low light then, and then my taste has changed now to where I listen to something like, oh, maybe I just don't like Wyclef like that. I don't know. Maybe I'm like Jay with his hate for who that he hates so much.
Oh, Crucial Conflict? Oh.
I thought it was one of the motherfucking Wu-Tang members that you hated.
Oh, nah, not so much Wu-Tang.
That's probably me talking about some. I'm not.
I can't remember. We haven't been together so long, but Jay had a hate for somebody, so we're like, oh, he on it.
Yeah,
yeah, but yeah.
I won't say Master. No,
Master Killer. Definitely me with Master Killer. I'm not a fan of Master Killer at all, bro. I'm not.
But yeah, that's to me. That's just me.
Yeah, that's the low light to you. Okay.
Yeah,
man. Okay. Well, Jay, what about your highlights and then your low lights?
I think we're gonna overlap with this segment, man. But definitely the Twins joint, because that deep cover beat is like probably one of my top 5 beats ever.
Mm-hmm.
And I ain't getting to the lyricism of right this second, but yeah, super lyrical. I like the I'm Not a Player version more than the Still Not a Player, maybe because I heard the Still Not a Player on the radio so much, but still a good joint. I mean, the singles, I'm saying, they smack. I like the Capital Punishment, Parental Discretion joint. Love the Punish Me joint. Oh, and I don't think Damo mentioned the joint The Rain in the Sun.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, that's good.
Like-
Yeah, the interlude. Yeah.
Oh, the Dream Shatterer, like, cause he blacked the fuck out on that joint, man.
Yeah, he did.
Goddamn.
Did he?
Yeah, I mean, I guess those are like my highlights, but low lights, not even so much a low light, but I mean, going back to what I was saying about the joint The Rain in the Sun, I wish Pun would have spit on that joint, made it like a full length song.
Mm-hmm.
That beat was
Absolutely.
just so damn beautiful, yeah. Like,
Yeah.
especially if, like, you know what I'm saying, ride through the city, like, you know what I'm saying, listen to that
Yeah,
joint.
yeah, it has that feel to it. It
Yeah.
does. It does. That was produced by Dead Prez, by the way. That song.
Yeah, that's surprised. I'm like, damn, they going like that. Like,
Yeah.
And I kind of could feel what Damo was saying as far as a low light with Caribbean connection. Not the whole song itself, but could have done without Wyclef. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think anybody's really been checking for him lyrically.
That's
And
crazy.
I don't understand why he had to have the whole DC, like the mayor smoking crack line like Slim. It was like damn near 10 years since that shit had happened. Like even at that point in '98, like
Yeah, I know.
let it go, dude.
That was a little bit of a cheap shot, but hey, I mean,
Yeah.
it's when your mayor does something like that, it's you gonna be a running joke for everybody. I think I kind of came to that realization a long time ago, and it's been 30 years since that happened. But
Specifically
yeah,
when your mate gets caught doing that, we ain't like you're the
Yeah.
only one out there, motherfucker.
yeah, like especially when it's when you get caught doing it. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So man, so my highlights. Lots of highlights on here. We sit there. I love the way that the whole album opens up with Beware and that sample with Prodigy on the hook. Super lyrical is a rarity where you have two MCs that match a level that is very rarely seen in the game. And where you see an MC like Black Thought completely go wild on the track, and it is almost like it's an afterthought as opposed to what Pun did. Now, you could talk, a lot of people sort of argue who has the better verse and performances on there. You could argue for either one, but for me, for my money, I'm going to go with Pun. And I'll explain a little bit later on when we get to notable quotables. That's a spoiler alert. The single's still not a player, and I'm not a player. I do agree with you, Jay, about the I'm not a player, the original one with that Gamble and Huff sample. I do like that, and I think there is some value in that version of the song. But one thing that I didn't hear either one of y'all mention, and I love this, and it's probably my favorite song on the album, is You Ain't a Killer. And I love the fact that I was right in between the Pack and the Mac and the Back of the Act part 1 and part 2 ones to follow up that part 1 with that as the song that followed that up, and his lyrics on there. I mean, he had some of it, like we talk about the quotables during Super Lyrical and Dream Shatterer, but some of the quotables in You Ain't a Killer, I was just like, my goodness. Like, you talk about elite MCing, that is elite MCing. I did like, of course, You Came Up. You gotta love You Came Up, man. That's the feeling of that song with him and Nori, and during that time when Nori was getting ready to drop his debut album, and on the tailwinds of that Capone Noreaga joint from the previous year. I do love Tres Leches, though, with Prodigy and Deck, man. Great MCing on there as well. Another one that I like that is a sleeper track for me is Boomerang, produced by V.I.C. from Beatnuts. Getting into a couple other ones, Glamour Life to me I thought was okay. I actually like Caribbean Connection with Wyclef, man. I don't think, Wyclef is not an elite MC, but I thought spitting-wise, he did a pretty good job. He didn't seem like he was completely out of place with the way that the track sounded. And, I mean, it's not a top highlight, but I thought it was serviceable on this album. But other than that, man, skits are funny. You know, especially the ones you talked about, Taster's Choice with the two Latino joints in there, and the Flex joint where he's doing the radio interview where they was tripping out. But, yo, really, really good album. You talk about, like, the production on here. I also got to agree with you, Jay, that Parental Discretion featuring Busta at the end of the album was good. But, yeah, man, awesome tracks on here. Dream Shatterer, of course, was crazy. The opening lyrics on there, like, I shattered dreams like Jordan. Like, come on, dude. Like, right when Jordan is in the midst of his second comeback where he was shattering dreams left and right. So, yeah. It definitely has a lot of highlights. Not really a whole bunch of low lights for me. If I do have to say there was possibly a low light, I wasn't really a big fan of Capital Punishment, the actual track itself, but you know, it's not something that I would say take it off the album completely and throw it in the trash. But other than that, though, lots and lots of highlights out there for me.
Notable quotables.
So we get into notable quotables, and I'll start with you this time, Jay. What notable quotables do you have from Capital Punishment?
Man, so many, but I'm gonna go ahead and get started with one we all respect. I'm saying doing super lyrical.
Yeah.
I mean, my man came out of the joint like, And I'm sorry if I stutter over the string, but like, yo, my murderous rap, verbal attack is actual fact. Tactical tracks match perfectly with graphical stats. Half of you lack the magical dap of tragical rap that tackles your back and shackles and laughs at you. That's a mathematical madness I'm on. The savage is strong, the marriage of bond of havoc is song. Like,
Yeah.
it just kept going on and on.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I gotta shout my joint like from Twins. Like, I think we all know the line with it.
Yeah.
Like,
Of course. Of course. It's one of the most memorable lines on there. But go
it
ahead.
said, dead in the middle of Little Italy, little did we know the riddle, so men who didn't do diddly. And, man, I know people back there hated that joint too. That's what tripped me out though. Like,
Yeah. But that's crazy though. Yeah. And Joe said there was an interview he was talking about when Pun spit that line. The Bama sat there and sat up and was like, hold on, what this nigga just say? Like, yeah. That's crazy. Yeah. That
should just say it up here. The general, the dream shatterer.
mm-hmm.
He was like, yo, I shatter dreams like Jordan, assault and baddie your team. Your squadron to be barred from rap like Adam Lee from the Garden. I'm carving my initials in your forehead so every night before you bid. You see the BP shine off the board head.
Yeah.
It's more, but I don't want to take up too much
Yeah.
time. Let y'all get to it, but
Yeah, I hear you.
he went off on that joint.
He
bro.
did.
Like,
He definitely did. Damo, what about you? Any notable quotables?
Man, it is too many. This joint really was too. Hey, I'm telling you, I was scratching my head. I ain't even gonna lie. I was still looking. I was like, yo, what the hell? Because there's too many on it. Of course, we even go with super. It's so many in super lyrical.
Yeah.
It's too many.
Yeah.
But I sat there. I said, you know what? I'm gonna have to settle down on one of them, on one of my favorite tracks on here. I guess I said, you know what? I guess I'm gonna have to go with "You Ain't a Killer."
Okay.
And I'm gonna just jump in the middle where he says, I'll leave you lost, mount you on a cross, whip you like a horse, sacrifice your life to a higher force, then I stump your corpse. It's the Bronx, of course. Recognize the accent, one of the last living, still in action, general assassins.
Yeah.
Catching any wreck, blasting any tech, smashing any chest, passing any test. Charles Manson in the flesh. I say, yo, what in the world? And then he hit it with at the end of the, almost at the end of the joint, he said, you know how you in the storm, waking up in the storm like Anita Baker. I said, oh shit.
Yeah.
Damn,
Yeah.
Bud.
Ridiculous.
Hey man, I was like, man, it's so sad he left us too early, man.
Yeah. Yeah. I told people, man, "You Ain't a Killer" is definitely my favorite track on there because I think lyrically he probably like the depth of those rhymes and those bars. Like, I'm just gonna get into my first notable quotable, and I'll go into a part of that first super lyrical verse. It's when he gets in and says, "This mask goes on as if Picasso laced you. There's lots of hateful skeletons locked in my closet of my castle at grade school. I'm possum at grade school. That's why I have to debate you. My raps are like cable, slashing your face you. That's how a master degrades you. I'm battling Jesus. If he battles through my label, I'm snatching his halo. God, I pray that you bring my father back as an angel." What? Hold on. Wait. What? This Bama said my raps are like Cable, the villain from Marvel, slashing your face you. That's how a master degrades you. Then he says, I'm battling Jesus. If he passes through my label, I'm snatching his halo. God, I pray that you bring my father back as an angel. Wow. Ridiculous. Like, when I heard that joint, I think I stopped and rewound it like 4 or 5 different times. Those particular, like, those bars right there, like, wow. That is crazy,
around
man.
during that time, bro.
Yeah, just
Really blessed.
goodness gracious.
Yes.
Then going to "You Ain't a Killer," and Damo sort of stole some of my thunder, but I'm actually going to go to the third verse on "You Ain't a Killer," is when he says, "Bad decisions kept me out the game. Now I'm strictly out for cream, doing things to fiends I doubt you ever dream. My team's the meanest thing you ever seen, measuring to the heavens kings, down to the devil's mezzanine." Like, yo, like, how do you conceptualize shit like that in your mind, dog? Like, measured by the heavens king down to the devil's mezzanine. What the fuck?
Wow. I said the exact same phrase at least like 10 times off my first listen to this album, bro. Like,
Yeah. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. Yeah. Wow. Goodness gracious, man. Then there's another verse on lyrical there as well when he talks about I split the jugular vein, snatch your Adam's apple, John Madden tackle your corpse, then horse it on the cross at the tabernacle. Oh my gosh, crazy, man. There is, I would say you would be very hard pressed any album that we reviewed on this show to go to see there's so many different lines you can quote to be like, damn, we could literally probably do a whole podcast on the quotables just from this album. Yeah. Probably. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely ridiculous.
It was so hard. I was going through, I was like, man. Yeah. When I clicked on the thing, I said, oh, they about to do this album? I said, hold on, I just listened to this a couple of weeks ago, so I skipped past, like, I didn't have to listen to Super Lyrical because, like I said, I listened to it like 5 times on the ride up. So I was like, oh, that's fresh there. I said, let me go right here. I said, damn, this motherfucker, it is too many.
Too many.
Way
too many, bruh. Way too many. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Oh my goodness, man.
But you know, it's some people who like Yeah Baby more than this album.
I don't know.
Get that one.
No way.
I do not get that one at all. At all. I said, what?
Anybody who says they like that probably heard that album before they heard Capital Punishment, and they fell in love with the stylistic that he switched up on Yeah Baby, but there's no way in the world. This joint isn't even in the same universe, bro.
It's not.
It's not even the same galaxy. Like, no way.
I don't even like Yeah Baby.
Neither do I.
It was a letdown for me.
A big letdown. Absolutely.
That's one of the joints you talk about, so you listen to it one time and listen to it again, because that's what happened with me.
Yeah.
I was like, damn.
Spent my hard-earned money on that shit.
Exactly. Oh, man. Goodness gracious. Yeah. Definitely lots of quotables and lots of quotables.
Final verdict.
So, getting to the final verdict about this album. So, we'll get into it. Do we think it's a classic? Do we think it's essential? Do we think it's a dope album, just good, or probably okay? So, I'll go ahead and start with you, Damo. You mentioned it earlier. Are you sticking by that?
It's a dope album. Classic.
I was gonna say earlier, like, maybe he said classic.
10 for 10.
Yeah.
Above the 10.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is probably be for us real hip hop heads. This will forever be a classic album.
Yeah. Jay, same for you.
Classic, 1,000 times a classic.
Yeah.
No way around it.
Yeah, same thing for me. It's a classic album. It's an album that when you talk about lyrically, this portion of the decade is probably something that won't be matched. On this side of Biggie and G-Rap and Rakim and KRS-One is as good as any other album you can think about. And 25 years later, we're still talking about the quotables and shaking our head. Like, the quotables now would come out today, it would still blow a lot of people out of the water. And that just showed you how far ahead of its time he definitely was, man. So Pun gone way too soon, man, but definitely a performance on here for the ages. We want to talk about something, if they had a hip-hop Hall of Fame, a performance, and you go and you put something in the Hall of Fame, a performance, like, they would say, like, during certain games, oh, this certain person's jersey from this game went to the Hall of Fame. Yo, Pun's book needs to go in the Hall of Fame from this album in the Hip-Hop Hall of Fame when it's done in 2024. 100%. Yeah, absolutely. So Capital Punishment by Big Pun. Make sure y'all go check it out. 25 years old this week. Go hit us up. Let us know what you think on social media, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. Let us know what you think about the album. What are your memories from it? Do you agree that it's a classic? Let us know. We love to continue the conversation. And that is going to wrap up yet another edition of The Vault. Please make sure you are visiting us at vaultclassicpod.com. That's vaultclassicpod.com. There you can learn more about the show, check out our past episodes, join our mailing list, leave a review, or if so inclined, you can leave us a voice note. Click the blue microphone in the bottom right-hand corner to leave us a voice note to let us know what you think about the show, or to just show us some love. To support the show, click the coffee cup shaded in yellow in the bottom left-hand corner to access our Buy Me a Coffee page. On Buy Me a Coffee, you can give a small monetary donation to support the show to ensure that we can keep the vault open for many years to come. You can also visit us on social media at Vault Classic Pod on IG, Twitter, and on TikTok. Also hit us on YouTube and our Facebook page. Like and follow us on social media, subscribe to the pod and the YouTube channel. We do it here all for you. We appreciate the support, and if you have a friend, tell a friend, and make sure that that friend tells a friend. Always remember to keep your headphones on and your music loud, but not too loud. And as we close, we'd like to remind everyone to dream big, because dreams are the basis for creation. Always create, motivate, and elevate, because you were never destined or created to stay stationary or ordinary in this life. And on that note, we say peace.
Thank you for listening and coming into The Vault. Please subscribe and visit us at vaultclassicpod.com. That's vaultclassicpod.com.